It's Monday, and it is time for A Plus Wrestling here on KPHR and wherever you listen to all of your podcasts. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, here's Hutch.
How you doing, bud?
Pretty damn good. Happy New Year. This is the first live, quote-unquote, live show we're doing this year, so Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you very much. Looking at how things went between us last year, I figured that maybe I should bring my attorney along today just for the first show of 2026, make sure everything is on the line. So we got fake lawyer Ron here as well.
That's me. I'm just making sure everything's on the level. You know what I mean?
Yes,
New year,
you're
new
here for
me.
me.
Exactly.
That's exactly how we do here at KPHR and on A Plus Wrestling. Ron, so happy to have you here. Hutch, as always, it's going to be great. Tons of things that we're going to be talking about this week on A Plus Wrestling, including a new champion in WWE, the lead up to Royal Rumble, AJ Styles, TNA, and so much more. We have tons to chat about. So you know what? This week, we're going to go commercial free here on KPHR, and we're just going to dive right into things. Hutch, big, and Ron. So biggest thing this week, probably, Drew McIntyre is the new world champion after a brutal 3 stages of hell match against Cody Rhodes in Germany. Jacob Fatu was the deciding factor after returning in this match. Interesting stuff. We'll start with Ron. Ron, thoughts on Drew McIntyre finally getting that win in front of a crowd?
I think the most important word you just said there was finally. This feud has gone on way too long for Drew McIntyre to not actually win the big one. I think, as you said, doing it in front of a crowd, absolutely important. Also doing it overseas with an international star that is Drew McIntyre. I don't think they could have done it any better, other than maybe on a PLE. But I think overall, Drew McIntyre should be champion. He's got the look of a champion. He feels like a champion. Hopefully, this ends the whining, about how he's been screwed over and over, and all that. But I'm very happy for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not going to end. The internet wrestling community is going to find something to complain about when it comes to Drew McIntyre or Cody Rhodes. Hutch, thoughts on the win? Because we've been talking about this for a while.
We were, and Drew McIntyre is certainly not going to stop complaining, even though he's gotten what he's wanted and he can be all smiley and whatnot. Like his whole like bitch character is like great these days. Like it's what's making him awesome. Is like he's got the words. He's that heel that we know is right. The same way Kevin Owens was right during his whole like feud with Cody. And the fact that Cody is often fighting with guys who do have a leg to stand on with their heel gripes has also been leaning towards Cody getting his boos. I noticed that during the title match, Cody was getting boos coming out. Drew was getting boos and mostly cheers. But when they announced the names, like they both got kind of boos and cheers. Like it's very interesting what's going on right now. And can Cody Rhodes be the next John Cena? Because there was very definite, let's go Cody sucks chance. So is Cody going to get what he's always wanted? Is he going to be the next John Cena? I think perhaps he might be.
Right?
He's
I think we're for sure leaning towards that. That's for sure, right? Sorry for going over you there. I think we're going to see a change in Cody Rhodes, I think. And I think that change is necessary. I think, he's been champion for the most part for 2 years, almost 2 years. And let's be honest, when you're champ for that long, unless you're Roman Reigns at this point, it's going to get stale. So let's see how they evolve the Cody Rhodes character moving forward. And you know what? This throws a huge, dare I say, wrench leading into WrestleMania season as we're around the corner from Royal Rumble. Having Jacob Fatu elevated into the main event scene already, just like awesome stuff. I'm liking that. Ron, thoughts on kind of like that wrench and how this builds some excitement for Royal Rumble? Or
I was actually thinking about this the other day with the announcement that Nick Aldis made about next week is qualifying matches. Whoever wins those matches, it's a fatal 4-way to find out who faces Drew at the Rumble. I think it's a great opportunity to absolutely put somebody newer in that upper echelon. They're obviously going to do that with Jacob Fatu. It would make no sense not to. But like it does open up the field to sort of figure out, okay, Cody's going to probably get in there. Jacob Fatu is almost certainly going to get in there. Who else do they put in there? I feel, unfortunately, LA Knight might be one. Not looking forward to that because he just feels like filler, and it's disappointing. But I mean, who else could be up there? Could be anybody. You know what I mean? And I think leading into not only the Rumble but also further down the road with Mania and all that stuff, having fresh faces leads to a world of possibilities. So I'm looking forward to it. Strangely, as someone who is very much down on the WWE product.
You've only been watching because I've been making you.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, basically.
And recent, like you have lost interest in the last few months, like the last half of 2025.
Yeah.
You are the embodiment of the IWC right
now.
Show us your neck. How much beard do you have on your neck? You are the embodiment of the IWC currently, because you literally are like, I've had it. I've had it with the booking and whatnot, right? Whereas you're willing to come back because you love wrestling. That's what I mean by it.
I do. I love good wrestling. I love entertaining wrestling, the intriguing wrestling that captivates me. And up until like aside from this whole thing of, maybe getting some fresh faces, it's the same thing every single week with the same guys doing.
Well, we've got 3-hour SmackDown now. Now they made a big deal out of the Netflix 1-year anniversary. They made a big deal out of Raw, and like one of the hooks was the title match, and there was other title matches as well. But it seems like SmackDown, they really just pushed the match as the thing to watch, but the entire SmackDown itself was much more palatable and ingestible than the Raw. Like if you ask me which was better, SmackDown was better, but I found that they advertised the match for SmackDown and they advertised the show with the match for Raw. And as soon as the first two titles got switched on Raw, I knew that Punk wasn't going to lose. And but we'll stick with McIntyre and Cody right now. I hear they came up with that decision just a few hours before the show. They weren't totally set on who was going to win. I'm glad they went with McIntyre because, like you guys are saying, it gets a bit old with Cody. People are used to these Roman Reigns types reigns. Sorry, the reigns. They think you need to have a long reign now for it to be important. But whereas AJ Styles and Dragon Lee just proved that not to be the case. If you are a fighting champion, you can have a short reign and have it be meaningful. Whereas in the same breath, if you're a 17-time world champion, you've now lost it 17 times. I would rather go the route that I think they're going to go with Punk here. They're going to keep that belt on Punk till Mania. They're going to have him have a good 4, 5, 6 month run. And then we might not see Punk with a belt, maybe even ever again in his career. I think Punk wants that run that's a run, not I won the title 5 times in the last 5 years. I don't think he's interested in that. I don't think I would be interested in that in his position.
Exactly, absolutely. Something that Ron brought up, right? And this was the tournament that's happening on SmackDown. So what's happening on SmackDown starting this week on January the 16th, we're going to get 4 matches. And the winners of those 4 matches are going to face off at Saturday night's main event here in Montreal. And the winner of that match is going to face now Drew McIntyre for the championship. And these are the 4 matches. So, in the interest of bringing in new faces, shaking things up, making something feel fresh. This is what we're getting this Friday. We're getting Randy Orton versus The Miz, Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams, Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, see, that's way more exciting because I assumed that they would just put Cody and Jacob Fatu in there. But that's completely like a much more fresher lineup that those guys are going to be, in a fatal 4-way to be the number 1 contender.
And I think you're going to be looking at, like, I don't know about Solo and Damian. I'm going to lean towards Solo, but I think the rest of the matches are pretty obvious here. You got Sammy going on. You're going to have Trick moving forward, and you're going to have Randy moving forward. And these guys, and I think putting Trick in there is important. I don't think he's going on to the match, especially against a heel like Drew. Here's where I think my prediction for the last year or so, it might go out the window. I've been pushing for Sami Zayn to win the Rumble, especially since it's in Riyadh. It seemed like his time. But you got Mania the next year. And even though he came out saying I'm going to do it this year, I could see him winning his match, winning the 4-way, going on to be in the main event, like title match at Riyadh, thereby being able to push Sami Zayn, put him on posters, get people who are invested in him in Riyadh, invested in the match. And he can still lose. I think Sami Zayn becoming jaded And like, he's such an altruistic type guy. He believes in justice. So he could go the way of Drew McIntyre of like, I've been denied this justice. Like, you know, he can get angry and be, he can, like the way that Drew is correct and the way that Kevin was correct, Sami can be not right. He could be wrong, but be righteous because he's so used to being correct and righteous and the good guy who looks past the surface layer to, hey, don't you know how this is making people feel? You know, he's the more woke, if you were going to use a modern colloquialism of the wrestlers. So I can see that wokeism becoming like twisted, where he thinks he deserves it, but he doesn't. And then he can go on like a weird heel run leading into maybe a Mania win next year in Riyadh. So I think my initial Sami's going to win the Rumble might be out the window, but I do think he's going to come out winning this 4-way in the end run. And I think it's definitely going to be a showdown, like him and Trick. They're going to have that showdown. If either of them don't win, it'll probably be because of each other. But who knows? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm kind of liking the way that you're thinking, because I too was on the same boat. Sami's going to win. But, you know, with next year's WrestleMania being in Saudi Arabia, I can see that being the time for Sami to get that win. And I think with Sami Zayn, it just makes the most sense because he's always been that underdog type character. You know, we can use that in air quotes if we want. So it would kind of make sense for him to, you know, lose and maybe get that heel run in and, you know, twists and turns leading into him finishing his story at next year's WrestleMania. I think that honestly makes the most sense for that. What's interesting though is that, you know, a lot of people were thinking Randy Orton was going to turn on Cody, you know, leading into Royal Rumble. So this is what I mean. Like, I kind of like the freshness of what's happening on SmackDown right now. It's really throwing like right now, like who's going to win the Royal Rumble, and like who. You know, it's the fact that both Jacob Fatu and Cody aren't even in this tournament. You know, are they going to have their own program? What's Cody going to do for WrestleMania, right? There's so many cool questions. It's actually refreshing to see things being shaken up this way on SmackDown.
It is weird when they put... It is weird, I find, when they put together tournaments that don't have all the top stars in it. Like, you remember when Punk shattered his foot, they gave Moxley the interim belt in AEW, and they had a battle royal for his first first guy that was going to fight him. It was Kyle O'Reilly. Now that I think about it, like, O'Reilly and Mox must be good buddies, always having these, like, let's have a reason to fight again. Okay, cool. But like, there was no Hangman in there. There was no MGF, and there was nobody that was a top contender in that battle royal. The same way I'm feeling about this tournament here, with the exception of Randy Orton and Sami Zayn. Everybody else is not top tier. And this is maybe the problem we have. Sami Zayn, if he does Mania next year, that's a year and a half from now. That's Rumble to Rumble and then Mania. So that's a long time to keep interest. Now, we do have all these new faces coming up, but you almost feel a desperation in these new faces. They realize, like, dude, like Randy Orton's retiring, AJ's retired. We got to get these kids over. So they're pushing Oba with promos packages, but not on TV. They've got Javon Evans casually sliding in because you've seen him all over the place. You don't need to really introduce him in a big hurrah or like a huge signing. It's like, yeah, this kid that's been on AAA and all over in the Saturday Night's Main Event, yeah, he's on the roster now. But you've got, you know, Javon, Oba, you've got Jordyn Grace, Trick Williams, Jacob Fatu. You can even look at Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, both Carmelo being kind of kept down for the last year and Ilya with his injury. They're almost like, it almost feels like they're call-ups now. In the last few months is when they've had their shining moments. These are all people that are still kind of new. And even somebody like Gargano, if you're not going to find a tag team partner for him, is he going to be in the undercard there? These are the guys you've got, and none of them are really stars yet. So you've got to use your Sami and you've got to use your Orton. And guys who are saying that Braun Breaker should have beat Punk and we need to get Oba and Trick and Javon into the top. I don't think WWE's seeing it that way. They don't see Javon as a top guy yet. They don't see Trick as a proven commodity. That's the thing. Sami Zayn is a proven commodity. Haluva kick, massive pop, underdog wins again. They've proven it time and time again. They're going to go with what works. And they're going to try and keep selling tickets this way and build up these undercard guys. The reason they're putting them on TV right now is so we get to know them. But I don't think that this is the year for any of these guys. You might get a Vader moment with Oba coming out and kicking someone's ass and getting the top title or an undercard title. But I think a lot of these guys are going to say titleless and or lower mid card for most of the year, while our old school guys like CM Punks and Sami Zayns and returning Kevin Owens and Randy Ortons are still going to get your main spots. I think Roman's going to win the Rumble and go to Mania. I just don't think that this is the year for all these guys, right?
But,
which puts Sami really into the clamp for a full year and a half from now, still being worth fans' interest.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I do think, having said that, this is the year where you can build these new guys, where you can build the Carmelo Hayes, who's getting amazing fan reactions right now, right? They can build the Ilya Dragunovs. They can build the Oba Femis, who I think is just going to be insanely popular on the main roster, right? They can build the Javon Evans. I think that this is a crucial year for WWE to build people, and you have a good mix of the Randy Ortons, the Miz's, the Sami Zayns, and mix them up with the Javon Evans, the Oba Femis, etc., etc. I think that this year is crucial for WWE to really start thinking about the future. Ron, we haven't heard from you in a moment. Thoughts on all this?
That's only because I talk so much.
No, it's fine. I know the feeling. I do it all the time too. I think not only is it crucial, but I think it's mandatory. I think you don't have a choice. As you said, their top guys are aging out. I can't see Orton doing this for like another 2 years. I just can't. The thing is that they come back, they get these pops, and then they go away again for another 6-7 months, or whatever reason. Like Randy Orton disappeared, and then now he's back, and it's like great, but they need to be putting these guys in a position to not only help showcase the newer guys, but as you said, you need to build up the identity and the worth, the emotional investment into why I'm watching guys like Javon Evans. He's not exactly the most built guy. I think he's in excellent shape, but like he's a very skinny dude. You know what I mean? Putting like let's say the world heavyweight title on him. Can he wrap that around him? Do you think? Like it looks like it would fall.
Well, he's very tall. And one thing I've learned about meeting wrestlers,
I don't think
they wear wrestlers in real life. They're always thicker than you think or shorter than you think. So he's probably a little thicker than you think.
But like, they certainly need to build up that equity into why I need to watch these guys, why I think they have a shot of winning, or else then you end up with an LA Knight situation again, where it's like, oh, they're putting Javon Evans in there again. Great. He's just going to.
And you also don't want like a Mary Sue type thing. You don't want the Trick Williamses coming in and winning titles right away and like losing the chase, losing the compass. But putting him in there with a guy like Randy, so you can see that he's got a similar stature and build. He's got whacking the mic out of his hand, and like, oh, I just screwed up. It's like, don't worry, kid, let's keep going. Like that kind of those mistakes. Those experiences in the ring build confidence, get you to be recognized by the audience, but also help people like build up like and dislike for you. Right now, you don't care about this guy. You care about him a little bit, but you don't really care about him. You need to invest time in him and figure out who's going to get the most out of him.
Right. Because then next thing you know, you
in
just
that
have a
same
whole crowd.
breath, let's talk about WWE Raw. There was a lot of speculation that, hey, Bron Breakker might actually get that title on Raw. It is the 1-year anniversary of the debut on Netflix. And, now looking at it, it's kind of funny because what we just said about Drew McIntyre and shaking things up, you kind of could have had the same effect if Bron Breakker won the title. Having said that, Hutch, you brought up earlier, there were already a few title changes on Raw, so it wasn't going to happen. It would have been very interesting if they did have 2 major title changes on the men's side if Braun won. So CM Punk wins. A lot of people are saying that, they want to save the big win for Bron Breakker on a grander stage. What do you think is going to happen with Bron Breakker moving forward at this point?
I don't know. I'd like them to stop talking about him as being the future of WWE. It's putting a lot. It's. I don't know. When you put something.
Look at what happened with Drew. Look at what happened with Drew McIntyre. His original.
Like he was Vince McMahon's chosen one, right? It took a long time for him to get over that stigma and climb back up. I don't think Braun's
Austin Theory. Look at what's happened with Austin Theory.
Yep. And there's another thing right there. Like Theory could be a big star in the future. I just don't think that they're quite there with any of these guys yet. And I think CM Punk, an IWC mark might say like, hey, they should have, they've killed Braun and they need to change things up and old Punk and whatnot. Dude, Punk can talk. Punk sells t-shirts. Punk's a draw, and you got to suck every last drop out of him while you can. Braun Breaker's going to be around for a long time, spearing people in the freaking face. So give Punk the chance now while he can still go. You know, he can still go right now. And he did all the house shows on these loops all through Glasgow. He did them all last year. Punk, when he came and said, I'm not a part-timer, he's not. When they do house shows, he's there defending his titles. He's in the main events. He had, wasn't really spoken about much. We had a lot of matches last year on house shows against the champs. He had like Seth matches. And he had 3 or 4 Gunther matches that were just like house show matches, main event cage matches against Gunther. Like he was there to sell those tickets, but not put himself in the top spot. It kind of came to him with Seth's injury or whatnot. He's like, all right, now that I got it, we're going to go. It's a CM Punk for the next 5 months. Let's go, boys. And I think it's great. And he's certainly having a good time.
Yeah, I personally don't have any issues with Punk being a little bit older, but also being champion. I liked the promo leading up to the Braun match where he said, I'm not ready to not be champion. So I'm going to keep this. I think there's a lot of juice, as you were saying, left with Punk in terms of, financial value, which I think works to their benefit. But like, I always like to sit there and think, okay, if it wasn't Punk, let's say Braun did win, who would he compete against? Because much like the SmackDown problem, you don't have a lot of guys that you're emotionally invested in where you think he has a legitimate shot of like dethroning Braun Breaker. Because they sort of back themselves into this little bit of a corner where you've got a handful of top guys who are aging out, but you have nobody to come up. So it's like, who are you going to put in that spot? I agree that Breaker losing was the better choice. As you said, he is the future, as much as you don't want to hear it. So I mean, definitely slow burn his whole rise, because once he gets a title, much like Gunther, I don't think he's letting go. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel like it makes any sense to do that sooner rather than later, because he's just going to kill it the second he gets it.
Yep. Let's talk Gunther for a second. He retires John Cena, gets nuclear heat from the internet wrestling community, gets nuclear heat from the crowds, but it feels like he really hasn't done much. Is this me being what's the word that I'm looking for? Am I being too? Am I not being patient enough? What's wrong?
They should have had a follow-up, and they didn't.
Yeah, like I've noticed that through all these conversations I've been having with people about the Rumble and about Mania and about who's going to win, like nobody mentions Gunther. It's like they're kind of like done with him. They're like, Yeah,
they had no follow-up. I thought it made no sense that the night after, where Pierce is like, you proud of yourself? It's like, I did my job. What are you talking about? And then he's like, well, you're going home. You have the night off.
Well, you got to think like WWE, right? They're like, what are we going to do with this guy? Where he's not taking the title off Punk. He's not taking the WWE title off Drew or off Cody. Right. So we're going to give him this age. Maybe this AJ thing is going to go all the way to Mania, or like maybe, just because he said he's going to retire in 2026 doesn't mean AJ is going to work all of 2026. He could retire next month. So, and we've got him this week on TNA, I believe, having an appearance on TNA, right? So like, I noticed that when he's doing stuff, his keyword searches and hashtags for AJ Styles are way up. When he's doing things, people are interested. Yeah. So,
I mean, the fact that he's at the age that he is and can perform at the level that he performs at, absolutely. I mean, keep an eye on him. I hope, I'm not sold on the idea of Gunther being the guy who, like, the legend killer all over again.
It's kind of like the streak with the Undertaker. You look at it and you realize, hey, wait, he's 8 wins in. Well, let's keep this going. Like now they're like, well, now he did John and Goldberg. Well, guys will go with this thing, boys. So now they're going to create it instead of it being natural. Now it will be manufactured.
But that's the WWE way, right? Things organically start and then they
either squash it because they hate that it happened, or they go with it.
Wait, we didn't write
Rusev
this. What? No.
Yeah. Yes, movement, my ass. It's like they need to go with it, right? But your question, Boris, is rather valid. First thing I think over the last 5-6 months with these U.S. title things, when Ilya won, I thought, oh, wow, Ilya beat Sami. Okay, cool. Who's going to beat Ilya, I wonder? So right now I'm thinking, who's going to beat Carmelo Hayes? It could be it could be somebody like an Oba, or, you know, there's all kinds of people we can throw in there, like this guy, that guy. But in reality, when you sit down and you look at the whole roster, I mean, who's going to beat Carmelo? So yeah, who's going to beat Drew? Who's going to beat Punk? Is it really going to be Braun Breaker? Is it really going to be back to Cody and then Cody and Roman? Where does this leave all the Gunthers of the world, right? They need something like an AJ Styles feud to be relevant for us to care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? I kind of feel like Gunther is because he's not feuding with Punk, they just don't know what to do with him. But I really do hope, like, he's got all this momentum, he's got all this heat, he's got all this everything, and they're really wasting him at this point. And it's almost maddening for me because he's so good, great talker, great in the ring, biggest heel. He could be your biggest heel in the company. And he technically is, I guess. But
yeah, it seems cheesy though. Like calling John Cena a bitch and all this stuff over and over. Like, what about real heat? Like, real heat would be scheduling AJ Styles' final match, but then like breaking his leg backstage. So guess what? You don't ever get to see him again. Like, what the hell? That's right. No retirement match for AJ. I'm sick of it. That's how you get heat. Like, son of a bitch, I don't get to see AJ's last match. Like this whole I beat AJ Styles. He's a bitch now too. It's only going to get you so far because A, wrestling's fake. B, social media is everywhere.
Wrestling, what? It's fake?
You know, it's just none of the things that made these angles powerful in the past. You know, every decade that goes by, these angles are less powerful. And right now I feel we're at the point where it's so manufactured and so obvious. There is no real heat here. You know, calling John Cena a bitch when you know it was all scripted to be this way. He didn't really do anything. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But my problem is they take something that sounds good and then they're like, oh, you're going to say that all the time now. That's your new catchphrase. John Cena's a bitch. John Cena's a bitch. Tapped out like a bitch. Like a bitch this, like a bitch that. Everything is like a bitch. But like, why? Why do you have to keep saying it? You know what I mean? Did John Cena tap out?
It really works in wrestling.
By calling him a bitch? Absolutely. But you need to keep, I think they made it a t-shirt or something.
Yes, they have. There's a Gunther bitch shirt now. Why? The thing is in life, when you hit something, when you have a viral moment, as it would be called in the modern vernacular, you have to go with it. So like one of my very first time I ever sat down for wrestling commentary ever. We're talking February 2010. Was doing a wrestling show. I'm the commentator, and I'm like, it was a battle royal for the main event. So there was like 30 guys coming out, or 20 guys. It was like a rumble style. Half these guys never even heard of him. So one guy comes out, I was just like, who's this guy? And they say, this is his name. And I was like, well, what's his deal? They're like, he's just like a local guy. And I just was like, here comes local favorite Jimmy Gaff. And after the show, the promoter came up. He was like, that's his from now on. Local favorite Jimmy Gaff. And now the local favorite Jimmy Gaff announcer, you on the mic, that from now on, that's his thing. And for the entire time that he had his run, he was the local favorite Jimmy Gaff. And it's just like, it struck. A guy was like, that's great. We're going with that forever now. Like, that's how you have to approach life. And so if something ends up feeling too cheesy or overdone, then you drop it. But there are some people out there that are still living off their catchphrase. I mean, if Matthew McConaughey only did 5 movies and then retired, he could still walk into a room and go, all right. And everybody would be like, yeah, hey, Matthew McConaughey, right? So like, you got to go with it when you have it. So I think bitch sucks, but it's what they're going with right now.
You're listening to A+ Wrestling here on KPHR Hamilton. We're talking the week that was and the week that will be pro wrestling. Let's flip the page. We've been talking a lot about the men's division. There's some very interesting stuff happening in the women's division as well in WWE. Let's start with Stephanie Vaquer. Her ankle looks gnarly. It looks really bad from Instagram and whatnot. What's going to happen there? Hutch, what are you thinking?
They haven't vacated yet, have they?
No.
And this feels like the kind of thing where they're like, man, we really don't want to have to vacate another title. I think maybe it might not be that bad. It could just be swelling. Remember how bad Cody looked when he came into the cell? But he was at a point where that was all just like blood pooled up in the muscles. Like he had gotten past. So like Stephanie might be putting those Instagram pictures out when it's at the peak of it looking bad, so that she can appear to be a tough guy on something that's just a really bad sprain. You know, like a cortisol shot and some painkillers, and she could probably make it through a 20-minute three-way match where she's only working for 5 minutes total. You know, but they can make it look like, oh, what a warrior. Did you see her ankle? Like, everything's a work, guys. So even that ankle could be like, hey, ChatGPT, take this picture of my ankle and make it look worse. Thanks. Post that, right? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm
enough.
sure there's a lot of ice and elevation when nobody's looking. It's not like they're just going to keep her on the road the whole time. So I mean, there's lots of downtime for rehab and all that kind of stuff, the healing. As you said, I'm sure they don't want to vacate it again because I mean they've vacated it how many times now due to injury?
Right. Exactly.
So I mean,
these are women, and they work at a high rate now. This isn't the Divas era.
Yeah. Which I love.
Twitch myofibril, bone density. It's not surprising that women sometimes get hurt a little more.
Sure.
So here's my takeaway from all of this. This puts Raquel Rodriguez in a great position. She's the one who took out the care. She's been getting this, like, she's just been improving so freaking much month over month. Basically, the only positive thing that Nash has ever done in the wrestling business over the past 20 years is tell certain people to, like Raquel Rodriguez, act big, and look at what she's doing. I think this is time for Raquel Rodriguez to really, really, really step up, and I really do believe that if Stephanie McIntyre is injured and they really don't want to vacate it, have her annihilate and just destroy McIntyre, and give the title to her, and let's see what happens. That could really open the door with the whole Liv Morgan storyline that will eventually
Liv's gonna
happen
be big
at
this
some
year.
point.
She's my pick to win the women's rumbles. Liv, go on, Ron. You got something?
Yeah,
she's my pick for everything. I think I'm in love with Liv Morgan, and I think we would have a life together. I think.
I was never like that sold on her. I knew she had talent. I liked her her little football gimmick at the beginning. But not only has she grown on me in the last year, she's making parts of me grow too. She's like the way she is in the ring, her look, her style, her swagger, the way she moves her hips and stuff. Like, she's confident. She's got it all. And that's what
I'm into the crazy eyes. I'm into the crazy eyes, but that's just that's my
same
thing.
here.
But I think, but as you were saying, she from day one to now, she has improved so much. She is so much fun to watch.
Yeah,
she doesn't look
like one of the most.
She doesn't look out of place. She looks very confident in everything that she does, which I think only helps the whole presentation of everything. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. If she wins the Rumble, I'm 100% down.
I'm not sure if she'll win. I think she's like the big heel that gets the shot and beats the champion, and you're like, oh my God, the champion lost. She's not the one that gets the pop for winning the Rumble. It's Liv that gets the pop for winning the Rumble and then wins the title and then loses to the big heel, and you're like, oh my God, and now they've got a program. But maybe you're right.
I do like the idea of Raquel just destroying back hair if she's injured, and then going on a nice little monster heel run. Because again, if you're a champion and you're a bigger person and you work heel, destroy everybody. You know what I mean? Because why not? Because then when you do get your comeuppance by whomever, then it certainly looks a lot more impressive than, oh, you beat Raquel. She's inexperienced. Good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think
it works.
About presentation, to combine that with Boris talking about Nash. Before, she used to show us that she was big. Remember, she used to be the chick that showed her back. It was always, she was the back. She would always do that thing. That was her whole thing was, oh, the one who shows her back. Yeah, she's got a big back. She used to show us how big she was. She doesn't do that anymore because now she shows us in the ring how big she is.
Yeah,
she's not just saying like, I'm big. She's showing us that she's big.
I think you can do both, but I think
it's more of a metaphor. I'm saying like around the time that she stopped doing this stupid thing was around the time she became a serious force to be reckoned with.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So in that same breath, Becky Lynch recaptures the women's IC title from Maxine Dupree. Was that a wasted run? What are your thoughts, Ron?
I don't think it's a wasted run at all. I think Maxine gets a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a champion and the grind that goes with that. I think it gives her, motivation to get back to that level, because, it takes a lot of work to get there. You can't just fall into it and be like, well, I'm okay in the ring. It's fine. You know what I mean? And then you just squeak by. I think if anything, it would give her a renewed sense of purpose that she needs to really put in the effort if she wants to maintain that higher level. I think working with somebody like Becky is a great move because, Becky understands obviously being the man. of the work that it takes to be at that level and stay there. So I'm hoping I'd like to see Maxine back there again for sure. Whether they just take her off TV, cool her down a little bit, but if she still has that grind and that mentality of this is where I want to be, this is where I need to be, I think that only benefits the women's division as a whole.
Yeah, I think it was a perfect little run. Becky, you can hot potato with Becky back and forth. Like, it's fine. She's great on the mic. A lot of undercard titles moving around in this last week, all over the place. And the problem we were talking about with the men's division of the desperation for true stars, they're not having that problem in the women's division. Like, they're not.
Dude,
not at all.
When you have Io Sky and Rhea Ripley as the women's tag team champions,
yes,
your division is doing well.
And so much concentration on that division in particular, and in all these women, to the point that I don't think Blake Monroe is getting called up anytime soon. It was Meltzer who put out this week that they've got plans for her for Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver's a WrestleMania weekend event. So I don't think that they're bringing her up. And right now, they still got to have Tiffy come back from her injury and establish her again. You don't need a clone of her. Keeping Monroe down in NXT, that can really put her to the top of that brand, getting in there with JC Jane and people like that. Hopefully maybe turn her back face again. She'd be okay as face. I don't know what they could do, but I don't think she's getting called up. I wasn't even sure if they were going to call up Jordyn Grace, but that's another story.
Shocked and happy that they called her up. And I love the fact that Jade Cargill is already bullying her on SmackDown. Like you already have her as an established person with Jade Cargill in the mix. I kind of like that for Jordyn Grace. The women's division right now it's honestly so much fun to watch in WWE and AEW, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm thinking
they probably have a lot more talent. Yeah.
Both of those two ladies look amazing, right? So they want the two superhero looking broads in there. But I think they're also looking at who can get the most out of Jade. Now, Jordyn Grace has the strength to keep up with someone like her. And I don't mean like for us fans. I mean for actual footwork and technical work in the ring. Jade has just injured B-Fab and Michin in the last little while. They want somebody in there that's got muscle mass, that can take the moves, that can deliver moves, but also not so much the case with Michin, who did a lot of indie work. But there are a lot of girls on the NXT roster and on the WWE roster that have either been with WWE for ages or are new to the business in general. Jordyn Grace has worked the indies. She has been in there with the shittest of the shit workers that have only had 2 weeks of training in the middle of Ohio and in some buttfuck nowhere barn, all the way to like TNA and like WrestleCon main events against Mickey James when not Mickey James, but when Jordyn Grace is only like 3-4 years into her career and still kind of, stout everywhere before she started becoming a bodybuilder. She's been through the ringer. She's got, so they know that they can put her in with Jade and that Jordyn Grace can probably get the most out of her and probably deal with the bumps and bumps isn't the right word. I guess maybe the bumps in the road that Jade might cause, because we all know she's not the best worker, but right now she's the top worker. She's the champ, but she's probably one of the worst workers in the company. Somebody like Jordyn Grace, who's mid-card, brand new, can take a few losses, but has the experience of being in there with complete shit shows for many, many years on end, and then getting in her car, driving to the next state. That's the girl you might want to put her in a program with that might get something out of Jade.
Yeah, someone who's putting in the work, has put in the work, and is now a free agent. And I'm just gonna throw this one out there: is Killer Kelly. She's officially done with TNA, AEW, or WWE. Would be stupid to pass up on Killer Kelly, in my most humble opinion.
This whole TNA WWE thing is weird. Are they signed? Are they not signed? Are they blah, blah, blah? Like Dolph Ziggler, it's like Dolph Ziggler's there, but he's Nick Nemeth, and it's like they don't talk about him, but they do, and they like I don't know. It's weird. I would think that with this partnership, if you have a TNA contract, you might as well be kind of a WWE employee in a weird way, right? But if Killer Kelly gets let go from her contract and signs a WWE contract, was that just all this weird kayfabe? Like, hey, WWE wants you, so we're just gonna let this next contract roll over and you'll just go sign with them. But yet somebody like a Sean Roth Sapp is all like, breaking news, Killer Kelly contract over. Where's she gonna go? But the truth is backstage, they were literally saying, hey, the E wants you there permanently. So instead of us doing a TNA star, we're just going to wait and you can debut there. Whereas somebody like Keanu James here, you can be a TNA star that's now on NXT. We'll go with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these are different contracts too. You've got people that are on double contracts, especially with AAA. You've got people that have AAA/WWE contracts. And then you've got guys like Monster Clown and Dave the Clown and Nino Hamburguesa who are just AAA signed, but AAA can use them any way they want. It's a really weird world we're living in now. And that's just in the last year. You literally take the last 7, 8, every single year for the last 7, 8 years, the entire industry has changed from the ground up almost every single year. It's crazy.
And with partnerships and rival companies, it's just crazy out there. And you had a video talking just about this, right? With
just even the idea of like that whole network and the library bouncing around from like conglomerates to conglomerates, and like it's just and like how much official WWE content is now on YouTube, and like, bro, it's so weird, so weird.
My only question
wrestling here on A+ Wrestling on KPHR. Right. Ron, you have something to say? What's going on?
I was going to say my only question: if Killer Kelly does get signed with WWE, will she be carrying Kelly?
Boom, boom. Was that worth it? It was worth it. Thank you, Ron.
I waited.
That was more than worth it. That was more than worth it. That was a lot more than worth it.
That was all I was waiting
for. You wanted to talk about Finn Balor. Well, what's going on?
Yeah, I mentioned to you earlier that I was just this afternoon, I was thinking about Finn Balor because he did his interview with Cody, and they're talking about how he's going to maybe come back as a face and they might debut the demon thing. So one thing I'm thinking is what's going on with Judgment Day? You've got Dominic, who's injured, but not that badly injured. You got JD McDonough, who's done again. You've got Finn Balor, who's been gone. So Judgment Day is just the ladies right now. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So like
pretty much.
Does this faction really have legs? It's amazing. It's more that we're all interested in these people. They don't even really need to be a faction anymore. But what I was talking about Finn in my head today, what I was talking to myself about in my head and told you I wanted to talk about was the demon. Now, I feel like, did Vince McMahon destroy the concept of the demon? Because Finn Balor was Finn Balor, or he's Prince Devitt, right? And every once in a while, he'd come out dressed up weird. Like he'd come out dressed as the Joker or dressed as Venom and dressed as Carnage with like the face paint of the Carnage whole mask. The mouth is like his chest. And that's what Vince McMahon sees. And he doesn't know what the hell Carnage is. He's just like, that's great. I like this look. And then so they co-opt it and turn it into the demon and then make it like a separate personality for him. And all this like cheesy Vince McMahon, I don't get it, but I'm a super creative guy, so I'm going to go. Like, as somebody that does this, I'm the guy who's going to be 70 years old with great ideas, and everybody's like, oh my God, this freaking old man is so out of touch. Like, he sees this, and immediately his brain starts moving and moving and moving and moving. Well, how can I make money, and how can we make this, how can we get this over? But he doesn't understand the original concept, which is that Prince Devitt was a cool dude, and once in a while he would come out in these cooler outfits that would give him more motivation and more, it would like just be more mystique. But Vince McMahon took it all so bloody literally that they gave him that stupid headband with like tassels on it. Like he literally looks like an asshole. And the stupid broom, his entrance, there was nothing demon-like or scary about that. It was like a goddamn circus show. And now they're going to try and bring him back as like a face with like maybe this like demon character inside. They realize that they've got no more Fiend. Bray Wyatt's done. Freaking obviously Bo Dallas is a really, really dime store for like a nickel store version of his brother. And they don't got the under. What can we do? We need something supernatural. I just don't think they get it. They might try and push this stupid demon on us again, which is like,
I think that's the problem is they are relying on the supernatural aspect of it. And like you said, treating it like it's a whole separate entity. Which I mean, I think it just made me remember of that promo of Vince telling us that we as an audience should be tired of having our intelligence insulted.
Seriously.
Like I'm not saying that like it should cater to the diehards who know the Prince Devitt history and all the different characters. Obviously, they can't do certain characters because of copyright issues and trademarks and whatever. But I think trying to keep everything separate from the supernatural thing, like that was the same issue I think with Bray Wyatt is he had to fight to keep it from being a supernatural thing. You know, and I think it's just sort of the way that it's gotten into their brain. I think Triple H needs to go back to just letting people do what they think is best for the character that they've come up with and that they've used.
letting the inmates run the asylum can work. I mean,
it absolutely can. I'm not saying everybody can do it. Certainly there are people who have demonstrated. Yeah, they've demonstrated they can do it with this character. They've done it in the past. All they have to say is, look what we've done before. Look at the business we did. Everything was great. Why can't I do that
before
again?
Boris explodes on us chatting here, I'll just say one more thing, and that's it's like it's what I was afraid of with AAA and what might happen with it in New Japan is you're afraid that the guys who got it don't get it. And Vince McMahon got the demon. He got Finn Balor, but he didn't get it. So he was the guy presenting it to us, really didn't get it. And that's the problem. And that's what I want to talk about is I think that they really need to rehab the demon and Finn Balor because I think Vince McMahon didn't get it and really ruined it in a lot of ways.
That was the Vince MO for years and years. How many NXT call-ups did he fumble because he just didn't get the characters that Triple H
I think there might have been something
I'm sure that there was an ego reason as well, but but let's be honest, he didn't understand a lot of the characters that he got from
shat
NXT.
On Karrion Kross on purpose, like taking away Scarlett, giving him all like this. That was premeditated. So like I don't know what was going on there, and turning NXT colorful at 2.0. I mean, that's not just like let's revamp it. That's like let's purposely wreck it and change it into something else. And they're not looking to like lose money. They still think maybe it'll be good, but let's get rid of all that crap. Whereas even to this day, Black and Gold probably was still the best.
Absolutely the best.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was absolutely great. Speaking of Black and Gold, let us switch the page and talk some AEW here in KPHR Hamilton as we're listening and talking wrestling on A+ Wrestling. Andrade El Idolo is officially back in AEW. AEW also signed Jake Doyle, aka Jake Something. Huge congrats to him. Pretty good, some fresh energy that we're seeing in AEW. And while these signings might not be, needle movers per se, I think it'll add a lot to the mid-card scene in AEW. Hutch, thoughts on some of these new signings and overall what's going on with AEW?
I think AEW is having a good 2026. They've done pretty good without a lot of their top stars. I'm looking forward to seeing Kenny against MJF. That'll be a little bit fresh. Jake Doyle, good signing, but I still think AEW, WWE, they only got one manager. I guess Kiana James, you can count as a second manager maybe, but they've got Paul Heyman, who's like pretty much one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT. And AEW doesn't know what the hell they're doing, man. Don Callis and Stokely Hathaway. I mean, these guys are not managers, and they like Stokely's got almost no real experience. He's like, I don't see how we're supposed to have heat on this guy. Like he never does anything to cost a guy a match or win his guy's match. He's not really involved to the point that we hate him. We hate Callis, or we're supposed to, but he's like, we only hate him because he's a cheeseball, not because he's costing people victories or whatnot. And the screwdriver is the dumbest thing in the whole world. So I still think AEW has some problems, but they're certainly cool. They're getting my interest more right now. That isn't where I was going with that, but I'll stop it there. They're doing good.
I'm just grateful that they've added some more people to the Don Callis family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with. Jake
those
Doyle.
Numbers were so thin with the 14 people or so who were already there. We need a couple more.
Like somebody like Jody Threat, her last name being like a mouthful of like Polish letters and words and Z's and W's and Y's next to each other. And you're like, okay, forget that. I figured that Jake Something, I thought he had like some weird Polish last name. And they were like, that guy, Jake Galistein, whatever, Jake Something, him? It just became almost like a joke, like Jake Something. He's like that Jake Something kid. But when I found out his last name was Doyle, I was like, man, it's like being like John Smith. And it was like, I didn't think you'd come like, so I figured they called him Jake Something because he had such a complicated last name. So I didn't know it was so simple. But I think he'll do well. But unfortunately, I'm not like Don Callis family. I want something for Mark Davis. So if that's going to be a tag team, you know what? Sign me up.
Yeah. I think that's what it'll be.
Davis.
I think going forward, it will be Davis and Doyle. Because even just the name Davis and Doyle, aside from sounding like a law
sounds
firm,
like a cop show.
Yeah,
it's a cop show. It's a law firm. It's all kinds of stuff. I think that certainly has potential. I mean, both like big bruiser guys, as long as they don't treat it like what was that other tag, the Bear Country or whatever. You know what I mean?
Bear Bronson and
like,
Boulder Bronson.
Yeah, I mean, like you have the ability, I think, to certainly create a a new tag team and just kind of build them up to actually hopefully be a credible.
They're gonna take the Brian Cage Lance Archer spot that they thought that they were gonna have that tag team, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
What's going on with Brian Cage? Like just nobody likes this guy. He's like, how come I'm not getting booked? It's like, 'cause we hate you.
Yeah.
Nobody
Pretty
likes
much,
you,
right?
bro.
It's a you thing. Just
Yeah,
It's a
really.
you
It's all
thing.
like, well, you're a great worker, but nobody likes you. Go away.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of some guys where you're like, how has this guy been in the industry for this long? And it's because everybody fucking loves his ass backstage. Who cares if he's a good worker or not? Yo, hey, nice to see you, pal. Like Ray Traylor. Everybody loved Big Boss, man. He was a good worker, but that's why he had a job for life everywhere, because they loved him, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think Hector Guerrero is on every until the day he dies? Everybody loves Hector.
Yep. MJF, he's been champion for the past few weeks. He's done a lot of talking, going to be getting a few matches in. What do you think of his run so far, Hutch?
What has he done? He has had a match? He's going to fight Bandito, but we know he's just going to beat him and then take the ring and be like, thanks for my ring back. And then, I don't know. But he's doing it the right way. I mean, he won that title, barely did a goddamn thing. Took a couple bumps, had a couple shines, rolled to the outside, waited for his time to hit the heat seeker, and that was it. Done. I mean, he barely did anything in that match. Might as well have been Andrade at Wrestle Kingdom. Andrade did bloody squat during that match too. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say about MJF's run. I'm hoping that they don't screw this up this year. I'm hoping that the title scene in AEW doesn't become like some weird contrived thing. But we had enough of that with Moxley.
The issue I have with it, and I love MJF, is who it's the same as the WWE discussion. Who is in a position to take that from him? Because it's not Bandito. You know what I mean? It almost is like the build up to World's End with, okay, well, you've got now the best promo guy in the company by a mile at the top, just breaking down everybody that he gets in the ring with. Who's going to be at that level where you think, oh, okay, they have a shot? I don't think feeding guys like Bandito to him is going to necessarily help the run, because you're not going to have like epic promo battles between, MJF and Bandito or anything like that. I did like on Dynamite that they brought John Cruz in it and added that a little bit to it, even though I don't think that's obviously going to be a long-term thing. But I don't know. I don't see long-term where that's going to go. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, that's my thing, right? Because a lot of people, every conversation I have, anytime I'm with the Poison Rana guys, we always talk about AEW, and something that I talked with them about last time when we were watching Dynamite was All In. All In is back in London. A lot of people are thinking that Will Ospreay is going to get that championship in London later on this year. Number one, will he be back? We'll see. But how do you get from MJF to that point? Is he still going to be champion? Are we going to see Carl Fletcher versus Will Ospreay? What are you thinking was going to be in the books for 2026 and AEW? Hutch, we'll start with you.
I mean, I think it could go a million different directions, but MJF, London, I was in the main event last time, champ. It's gonna happen again. You think it's your city, Will Ospreay, just because you were born here? I've proven that it's my town by being in the main event last time and being in the main event again now. Look, who wonder whose town London is. Looks like MJF territory to me, pal. Like they could easily go with something like that.
I mean, again, that's if Ospreay comes back. You know what I mean? And
he's not gonna not come back. Well, I mean, he was already on New Japan saying, I'm coming back. Getting everybody pissed at him for a reason to kick his ass. That's what we don't need coming back like you're going to save us. It's a reason for them all to turn heel on him. But, I mean, he's not going to not come back.
Well, I mean, sure, but he's still healing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still nobody knows how
All In's not exactly around the corner, pal.
Well, it's also true.
August.
True. I don't know the calendar. I don't know what the
he had a major neck injury, man.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
It's like it's like 8 months from now.
Ish.
You'll be seeing Ospreay back.
Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see where we go from there. Hutch, you want to talk about Hobbs?
Oh, well, Hobbs and like Private Party. Like these are guys who WWE has their eyes on. Supposedly WWE really, really has their eyes on Hobbs. They've made it fairly known that they're not really looking at AEW guys. They're not looking to steal from AEW. But People like Bruce Pritchard. There's a lot of people out there that really think they can do a lot with Hobbs, especially if you're putting somebody like Obafemi or Javon Evans into a prime spot with somebody of similar stature and similar like lifestyle to like come in and kick their ass. You know, it's like when your tag team partner turns on you, or like Batman versus like Bane, you know, somebody that's you but a bit bigger or more. Anyways, from what I hear, WWE has their eyes on Hobbs, and I could see him jumping ship, because most people don't think about the fact that that dude is like 35 years old. I think like next week is his birthday. That's the kind of guy who wants to sign up with WWE, become NXT champion, start moving his way up. And even though the trios title is nice and all, he's been with AEW for 6 bloody years, man. And from day one, we were like, wow, check this dude out. And now we're still like, wow, check this dude out. It's like, what's happening 3 years from now? Is it still going to be like, wow, check this dude out? What potential? I don't think he's looking for that to happen to him. So, and Private Party, aren't they already signed with what's the deal, Boris? You heard about Private Party?
No, not yet. Not yet.
We check the AEW roster right now. Are they on that roster page?
I would have to check. I can get that. I can get back to you. Anna Jay is another name that, you know, could be jumping. Apparently her contract's up in the spring. She's very open to seeing what the market looks like, aka will WWE call me or not, right?
He is razor focused on becoming a wrestling star. Like she did not really have the footwork or the timing or the chops, but she has decided to dedicate herself to this, and she's one of those people that is going to make it through sheer obsession and tenacity. And the fact that she's pretty hot rod, so they're not going to, nobody's going to turn their nose up at her. But the fact that she's going to keep on going, and no matter how many bumps and bruises and scrapes and breaks she gets, she's going to come back. That's what Hiro Matsuda was looking for in Hulk Hogan. Janet Jay is the next Hulk Hogan, baby. She's coming back time and time again.
That's the clickbait title right there.
Yes. I know, right? Yeah. I love it. And it's just going to be Hutch just screaming into the.
What? We only got like what 3 minutes left here.
5 minutes.
Okay. There is one other thing I wanted to mention. I think 3 Stages of Hell is a shitty gimmick.
Radio, son.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I stopped after shitty. I think 3 Stages of Hell is not a great gimmick. 2 out of 3 falls matches are great and all, but you can only have a guy get the surprise roll-up win in the first few minutes like so often. The low blow and the Claymore kick for the first fall, sure, he got him with the low blow, and sure, he connected solid with that Claymore, and Cody tried to do the Rikishi, like turn himself inside out, a total flip around land. Speaking of which, that tilt-a-whirl into the crossroads, that was sweet. Speaking of flipping around later on in the match, but this is not a sustainable gimmick. Now, granted, they don't do these matches all the time, but I think that if you want to make something like 3 Stages of Hell important, we always know we're going to get to the 3rd stage, because that's why you have 3 Stages of Hell. The fact that it goes in this format most of the time, or like, you know, low stakes match, middle stakes match, high stakes match, it doesn't lean to, when you have a 2 out of 3 falls match, you can have your first fall be like 20 minutes, and then the other falls come closer together. You see a lot of classic 2 out of 3 falls matches where that kind of stuff happens, and that's what happens when you play a video game. Your first fall is quite a bit, and then you get the first fall, and they have your meter go up a little bit, like just as a token things. But the second fall usually isn't that long because your character's already beat up. They seem to do the opposite in real life. Like those final falls are always the longest. Now, if you look at life the way a Japanese wrestler does, like your Bushido, your fighting spirit, your Tukun, your fighting spirit, if that makes sense, because the more hits you take, the stronger you're getting. It's like, but that's not how American wrestling is. So I've always thought they should change this stipulation. Imagine they gave it like a name, like the Crucible, or whatever, right? The Almond Joy, like call it anything. The Almond Joy match. I don't know why I thought of that.
I would like an Almond Joy.
Yeah, but here's the problem. WWE, knowing WWE, it'll be Skittles presents the 3 Stages of Hell. Booyah.
Yeah, whatever. But what it needs to be is, imagine it was like this. Imagine first 2 falls are in a steel cage. So that first fall can go as long as you want. First fall steel cage match. If you escape the cage, you're automatically disqualified. You have to stay in the cage. Boom. So 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in, finally one guy gets a pin. Oh my God. Second fall, still in the steel cage, but now you have the escape option. So boom, 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 they fight. Second guy gets a fall. No escape, no nothing. But now, like if you want to call the match like the proving grounds or the minefield or something. So now for the third fall, the cage rises. And now they've been let out of their cage. And now it's pinfalls count anywhere for the final fall. And if it happens 5 minutes later out in the audience from a power bomb off a freaking concrete thing onto another concrete thing, then it makes more sense. But this whole like singles match where you get beaten quick and now now we're beating each other with chairs, but you're kicking out of the move I just gave you. And now on the third match, we're going for 20 minutes because, just like the Bron Breakker match, you thought it was going to end and it didn't. You were thinking, this is kind of lame. This match isn't great. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, it's still going. Now it's great. Like that's how that Punk Bron match became good because it was so long. It kept going. But with these 3 stages of hell matches, unless you're going to squish them all together at the end, it's kind of lame. Somebody's always taking a pin when they shouldn't take a pin. So I think you need to switch it up.
I'm never a fan of, three best of 3.
I love it.
Look, in theory, I love them. I just feel that they're weirdly booked, right? Because look, if I'm a wrestler and I get that first pin, I get fucking pissed off if I end up losing twice. I know that's the whole point of it. But like the other thing is when the first pin happens in 30 seconds, sometimes 5 minutes, you're telling me if this was a regular match, that would have been over.
That's it.
Exactly. Right? That's my issue with the best of 3 matches.
The argument because it happens too often. Like, let's just say you and I had in a calendar month, we had 3 or 4 best 2 out of 3 falls match. If in one of them, the heel who comes in, I'm going to kick your ass, I'm going to this and that, blah, blah, gets rolled up quickly in the first fall and the fans pop and the baby face is like, and he's like, right now you've got your heel battling back from underneath. It's an interesting dynamic. They do it often, but you can't have that happen all the time. And at least that is an angle. Having a 8-minute match with the champ and then beating him with your finisher and then having 2 more 20-minute matches after that, that's where it gets stupid. Like you need to flip the stipulations. I think with the idea I was saying, like 2 matches in a steel cage and then bring up the steel cage and it almost seems like you're changing the environment for them as opposed to putting them into this steel cage. Like literally the steel cage is the final pin stipulation after a pinfall count anywhere. Well, God, in a perfect world, they'd be out in freaking the streets out front the venue getting the pinfall. The one lame thing about WWE's style last man standing or pinfall count anywhere is they often stick around the ring and come back to the ring. They don't go too far. They might go into the back to the loading area and hit each other on the freaking garage door a few times and then come back. It's not like Hardcore Holly and Al Snow dumping each other in the freaking river and stuff. Like we need that kind of stuff. Only if you're pinning a guy out on the freaking highway, you now got to get all the way back to the arena and get inside a steel cage. That's why the idea that I just floated there is like something that's a little more palatable, and you can have those long matches and then still have the other matches after, and it doesn't matter, especially if you have your final fall being a pinfall count anywhere. You can do the classic walk and brawl, and now you're making this last match, even though there's only a couple of big moves in it or spots, the match can still be elongated because they're fighting around the arena to get to the spot where they're going to do the spot. So yeah, I just think it works better. I just don't think 3 stages of hell, the way that it's been booked many times, has been done well.
Agreed. And with that said, the hour is up. It is time for us to go off the air here on KPHR. Hutch, where can we find all your wonderful work?
You can find my wonderful work at Hutch Henries on all of your social media platforms. And if you want to check out the commentary and wrestling company that I run, Demand Lucha, go to @DemandLucha on your YouTube for all of that stuff. And you can check out the socials as well, also at Demand Lucha.
There we go. Ron, you got anything?
I am on everything as Guy with Fat Cat. I'm a guy. I have a fat cat. It's pretty simple. You can figure it out. Put the pieces together. You know what I mean? That's basically where you find everything. Guy
awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining us this week, Ron and Hutch. As always, it's been a pleasure. A+Productions.com is where you can find all things about A+ Wrestling and all of our other shows. You can find us on all of the social medias at A+ Wrestling. Be part of the conversation by going to Facebook.com and searching for A+ Productions. And anywhere you want to go, just go to your favorite podcasting app, Search for A Plus Wrestling or A Plus Productions. Hit that subscribe. Leave a review. The algorithm loves those reviews, so leave one. And we thank you so much. And as always, thank you so much for listening, whether this has been the first episode or the 100th episode. We really do appreciate each and every single one of you. On behalf of the entire A Plus Wrestling crew, thank you so much for listening, but most importantly, stay tranquilo.
You earned your retainer, Ron.
Perfect.
That's what I do. That's what I do.